Hey guys, what's going on? This is Andy Clements. Welcome back to the Muscle Building Mastery Podcast. I'm really excited to have you here. In this episode, we're going to do something a little bit different now. All the episodes, I think this is episode 20, all the 19 previous episodes so far are focused specifically on muscle building. And this episode, it is related to muscle building, but I want to take a little bit of a different approach because I think it's important for me to post something on mental health, and not for any reason. It's not any time of year or anything like that in particular, but I think it's more relevant now than ever with many of us around the world, especially in the UK here, in constant lockdowns. We've been in lockdowns for on and off over a year. It's been ridiculous, and a lot of us are struggling at home. And I thought this topic of mental health kind of deserved a little bit of attention, and it definitely does, as you guys will see when I start talking about it. Definitely does have an application with muscle building as well, because one feeds into the other. The better you get your mental health, the better you can get your physique, and the better you get your physique, vice versa, right? And these different things have interplaying roles. So that's what I want to talk about. I hope you guys will find this useful, will enjoy this episode and maybe take something from it. Absolutely, as I'm going along here, if you think you've got something to add to the discussion, then please post a comment below on the YouTube, or you can leave me a review on the iTunes or the Spotify or whatever, and we'll get a discussion going here. So I guess I want to start I start most of these podcasts with a bit of a backstory. So I want to tell you a little bit about my story and my experiences with sort of mental health issues, and it's not something that I really share publicly very much or at all, but I thought me making myself vulnerable on here a little bit might be just what somebody, if one person benefits from this, then it's worth it, right? So to sort of understand where I was at with this, you got to go back to 2015, the late 2015, the winter months. And I was in a really, really dark place at that point. I'd just competed in a bodybuilding show, and I'll probably do a whole podcast on that and my experiences with that in the future. But yeah, at that time I just competed in a bodybuilding show, which I worked so hard for, and I was placing so much of my self-worth and value on this bodybuilding show, and this was my identity, right? And I came out with it with really disappointing results. I didn't get a place in, and I think I was probably expecting more from it than I actually got from it. And I've not been training that long, guys. I've been training maybe a year and a half. So I was a little bit delusional, thinking that I was going to be able to go into this bodybuilding show and win it or place or whatever. I don't think I'd disgrace myself, but I didn't do very well. And in my head at the time, I was really, really disappointed, and I was being really self-critical and having all these negative, toxic thoughts. And obviously, because I compete in this bodybuilding show, bodybuilding, if you guys know about it, or if you guys don't know about it, it's one of the most extreme things you can do for your body, for in the interest of sport. So I didn't get a coach. I didn't do it right. I just did what I thought was best. I was still figuring all this stuff out, and as a result, because I came down in body weight so much and then didn't have a post-show plan, I kind of just rebounded up and started eating rubbish again, right? Eating crap again. So my hormones were all over the place. So I had this physiological aspect going on, as well as my mental health, which was down the pan. And I was just feeling awful. I can just remember it just felt like such a dark time in my life, those few months in particular. Because my show was in August, and then the rest of that year, I was just on my arse. So I felt depressed, I say, I felt self-critical. I didn't have any energy for anything. I didn't have any motivation for anything, especially training, at the gym, because I had all these negative emotions attached with this bodybuilding show that then leaked over into training as well. So I was I want to keep training because I've got my whole identity wrapped up in this, which is a whole separate issue in itself, which we can do a podcast about later. But I wanted to keep training, and I did genuinely enjoy training, but I just didn't have the motivation or the drive or the energy for it because I associated it with this negative event, this bodybuilding show, right? So I was in a really bad place, and on top of that, it wasn't just that. I was going through trouble with my relationship at the time. I was going through a breakup with my at the time girlfriend, and I was going through financial stress at the same time because I put all my efforts into this bodybuilding show that didn't pay off and didn't give me what I wanted it to give me, and that meant that I was broke. I was broke. I neglected my relationship, which meant that my relationship ended. and I was just like literally on the edge of suicide. I was like, this sucks, like this is awful, so I was really struggling. It was a dark time. It was like, say, in 2015, a super dark time in my life, and there wasn't anything like in particular wrong, like but I was just in a really bad place. And sometimes that's how it happens, right? Sometimes your mental state isn't like dictated by one major event. It's just like a culmination of small things, and a bad approach to it in yourself mentally, which is what I had. So I wanted to feel better. I wanted to get out of this hole. I wanted to not be so depressed all the time. And I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be that, depressed friend, I didn't want to be the guy who everyone had to kind of pity and feel sorry for. So I didn't kind of show it on the outside. But I wanted to have the energy and the drive and the motivation for life again, the motivation to train, rekindle that love of training, rekindle that love of everything, of life. So I didn't want to feel as tired and lethargic anymore, and I wanted to also have like more confidence and belief in myself. You know what I mean? Like that event, that bodybuilding event, kind of like sapped all the self-confidence I had out of me, because I was just like crushed by it, and I obviously put so much more importance than I should have done on that day. But that's how it happened. I completely crushed my own self-confidence. And so, like, on the inside, I was telling myself, like, oh, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, I shouldn't have tried in the first place, blah, 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 blah. Having all these battles, thinking of people were judging me and all the rest of it, like paranoia and all that stuff. And, I had constant comparison with other people, especially on social media. I had to come off social media for a while, and I still have I still distance myself from it, because I think too much of social media can't be a good thing. But I ended up, I spoke social media, looking at other people's, by the way, filtered and heavily edited, like photos and videos and stuff, and comparing my worst, what I was perceiving as my worst shape, to their best. And they like, don't get me wrong, some of these guys on the social media, they look amazing, and I'm absolutely buzzing for them. But it's you need, if you're going on social media, you need to be able to be happy for their results without taking it to heart and saying, oh well, I don't have that kind of result, so I must not be as good a person as them, which is essentially what a lot of us do, right? And that's the whole self-comparison thing. But I'm getting sidetracked, right? It's a separate thing. That's what I used to do. I used to compare myself to people in person and people in, the internet virtual world. And I just kept sort of thinking, what's the point? What's the point? Like, I just couldn't, get myself with the motivation for life anymore. And so I was in that kind of bad place. But on the outside, it was like completely different. Like, I wasn't showing anybody this on the outside. I wasn't being that depressed guy. I was trying to like stay upbeat and trying to, remain as normal as possible on the outside. And I was still with my personal training business. I was remaining professional as possible with clients. The clients were still getting good results, and the clients that I had, because I'd not been focusing on my business that much. And I was being normal with my friends and my family and all that kind of stuff. And I wasn't letting anybody else, sort of see what was going on, which I think a lot of us have, especially blokes. We don't kind of want to talk about what's going on mentally. So, if you're going through that, I just got to take a minute to say now, reach out to somebody. Reach out to me if you want to reach out to me. We'll have a conversation. If you've got somebody that's in your life to reach out to them. And if you're going through something similar to what I was going through right now, please just reach out to somebody. And it literally is a case of, this is what I'm going through, and just make sure you can trust the person. Just reach out to a random person that might make you feel worse. So that was where I was at. That was what was going on the inside and the outside for me. And I can remember this one particular day. It was like, I think it was November in 2015, a few months after my show, and I've been going like spiraling down and down and down. And I can remember this one particular day, walking down the street to, I think I was just like going to the shop or something, but I can remember vividly where I was. I was in my hometown, my home village, and walking down the street past some of the shops, and it was a quiet day. It was a quite typical November, like cloudy, a bit drizzly and stuff like that, and it kind of matched my mood. I was feeling a bit sorry for myself. So I was walking this one particular day. I was walking down the street, and I can remember thinking, well, first of all, there was like mental turmoil going on in my head. Like, my head was so busy with different things, and I was just like, I think I just went for a walk primarily to get out and just try and clear my head. And I can remember thinking, like, because I've been thinking for a little while, about going to this particular event. There was a guy that I was following at the time called Paul Moore, and he's still an awesome guy. I still follow him off and on. And he like was like a marketing guy, but he transitioned more into the like men's mental health space, right? So he's like empowering men to, you know, be actual men rather than moaning bitches like I was. So he was running an event, and it was called Mindset X, and he'd been promoting it on his email for a little while, and I'd been looking at it and thinking, you know, I'd looked at like how much it was, and I'd looked at the order form pages and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, you know, it was like £300. I was like, oh god, £300, I don't even have that much in my bank. I had like 200 or 250 or something in my bank, and it would have to go into my overdraft. And I was like, oh, I don't know whether to do this. But I was getting worse and worse and worse every day, right? And I came to the realisation that I either had to go to the event or I had to carry on getting worse, right? This was the crossroads I came to. I was like, you either stump up, like pony up this investment, which it was a lot to me, but it wasn't actually that much for what I got in return, or I could save the money and carry on allowing my mental health to go down the pan and not invest in myself whatsoever. So they were the choices I had, you know, as in my mind at that time. So obviously I stumped up the £300, right? I was like, okay, you know, I'm going to do it. You know, I was walking down the street, and that's where I made the decision that I was like, I'm either going to, you know, carry on getting worse, or I'm going to fix this thing, or I'm going to, you know, at least, you know, take some steps to fix this thing and try and actually you know, take some responsibility for my own life and my own mental health. So I did. Like when I got home, I was like, right, I'm going to go on my laptop and I'm going to pay it, and it's done. Okay, so that's what I did. I went and I paid more money than I had to go to this seminar. It was in Newcastle upon Tyne, which is in the north of England, which was about I thought about like 2 hours away from us, 2-3 hours away from where I live. So I got the train and I went up, and I don't regret it for a second. It was in December. I can't remember the exact date, but it was in December of 2015. So I got up super early one day, and I got on the train and I went to this event. And I wasn't like I was any stranger of going to events. I used to go to events quite a lot around that time for muscle building, you know, for learning programming and learning exercise execution and learning nutrition and learning contest prep and all these different things, right, that have all helped me to get to the level of knowledge I am today. But I've never been to a specific mindset one. And I was like, oh, I don't really know what to expect. So I got there. And I think I got there quite early. I was like one of the first there. And throughout the day, Paul shared one of his kind of version of what he learned from a guy called Garrett J. White. And Garrett J. White runs a program called, I think it's called Wake Up Warrior, right? I've never been through that, but Paul had been through that, and he shared his kind of version, his spin on that. And basically what they do in Wake Up Warrior is they split your life down into 4 distinct parts, okay? And the 4 distinct parts are like the 4 Bs. So you've got your body, which is kind of self-explanatory. You've got your being, which is like your mindset. You've got your balance, which is like your relationships, like the people in your life. And then you've got your business, or, you know, your career or your work or whatever professional life you have, right? So they're the 4 areas of life that I was introduced to on that day in 2015 at that Mindset X seminar by Paul Moore. And the epiphany that I had on that day, that he kind of led me towards, was that if I was to neglect just one of those 4 areas, all 4 of them would suffer. Does that make sense? So let me explain what I mean here. If I neglected, for example, my business, right? If I neglected my my personal training business, or my online business, or my, you know, career, or my work, or if I had a job, my job, you know, if I neglected the business part of life that makes me money and provides me with you know, like purpose and things like that, then my finances would suffer, because, you know, I wouldn't be bringing in the same amount of providing the same amount of value to people on the other side of my business, and they would therefore not pay me either as much or all. So then when my finances suffer, I wouldn't be able to go out and pay for the best foods to eat for my nutrition. I wouldn't be able to go out and pay for the best gyms to go to pay for the best events to go to further my knowledge. I wouldn't be able to take my spouse on dates and buy her gifts and you know, pay for the best places to go and stuff like that. So my body would suffer, my relationships would suffer. I wouldn't be able to what else? I wouldn't be able to well, obviously if your finances suffer, then you're going to be worrying, right, about your finances constantly. You're going to be like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. So that meant my mindset, my being would suffer as well. So just by neglecting one area like business, all 4 areas suffer. Does that make sense? And so what I'd been doing was I'd not only been neglecting one, I'd been neglecting 3 of those areas because I was just focusing on one, right? So I was just purely focusing on body because I had this bodybuilding show, and that was like so important, right? It was ridiculous. Like that's where I was at. I was like so focused on my bodybuilding and building my body in general that I neglected my finances. I neglected my relationships, and I neglected my mindset. And as a result, all 3 of those obviously went down in quality, but because those 3 went down in quality, that also affected number 1, which was body, right? So because I wasn't paying any attention to these 3, then my body also suffered, which made me perform worse at that bodybuilding contest than I would have if I'd have taken a bit more time to look after all 4 areas. Does that make sense? I know I've kind of gone off on a bit of a tangent there, but hopefully you see what I'm getting at. I was so focused on performing well in the area of body that I neglected all the other 3 areas, but by doing that, this area was neglected as well. So I was kind of like shooting myself in the foot, right? So this is the epiphany I had. I was like, oh my God, like I need to master every area of my life in order to actually get any kind of results in any of the areas, okay? So, or at the very least be competent at them. So my plan was, I was like, okay, I remember saying to myself at this event, I'm going to follow whatever Paul says, whatever Paul tells me to do every single day for a year straight. And that's exactly what I did. I did not miss a day. And I know a lot of people can come on here and make big claims, but I did not miss a single day of following Paul's advice from the 1st of January 2016 to the 31st of December 2016. I was like, I'm going to commit to this every single day for a year, and I honestly did. I did it for a year. So for a year, this is what I did. Like I basically just committed to a morning routine, right? So I was like, this is I can do this morning routine. I'm going to get up at 6 o'clock every morning, which I did. I'm going to meditate for 12 minutes, which I did. I don't care what you think of meditating, it's good. I'm going to do what's called daily reframes, so a couple of different versions of daily reframes, which is like you have these toxic negative thought cycles, either about yourself, about other people, or something like that, or about situations, and you flip them around. Like you do some work on pen and paper and you flip them around in your head so that you can see the positive and the negative side, right? So it's not just a negative event now, you can also see how it serves you as well, which kind of dissolves your emotions about it. What else? I used to send somebody that mattered to me a text of appreciation every single morning. And that was tough, you know. It was like, oh God, like this is tough. And I used to study some kind of muscle building content every single morning as well, to obviously increase my knowledge and improve my skill set to be better at my career and better at my business. So that's what I did, that's what I committed to do. It wasn't tons, but it was more attention than I'd ever paid to these other areas of life other than just training and nutrition, right? And, you know, for that period of time I was doing it, it worked, you know. I wasn't having the dark thoughts anymore. I pulled myself out of this pit, you know, of really struggling, having these kind of suicidal thoughts. And I wasn't feeling amazing. I'm not going to lie and say I was feeling ecstatic every single day. I don't think that's really possible to feel amazing every single day. But I was a hell of a lot better. Like I was light years better than the position I was in a few months earlier. So that was where I was at after that event. And even though I was feeling better, I still wasn't like achieving the kind of results that I wanted to achieve in life, right? I realised I'd now sort of shifted my focus. I was paying more attention to all the areas, but I'd shifted my primary focus from body, which was training, nutrition, and trying to build muscle and stuff like that, to being, which was mindset, right? Because like I was like, so my mindset kind of improved, but then my body started to suffer a little bit, and then my finances kept suffering, and then my relationship kept suffering, and you know, I realised that, you know, I've just replaced one thing with another. And although I'm feeling better because my mindset's better, and you know, and I still knew how to maintain a good body, so I still, you know, kept progressing in the gym, just not as fast as I might have done previously. But the other areas started to suffer because I was like just shifted my focus. You know what I mean? And so I'd not broadened my focus, I just shifted it. So I realised that what I needed to do was give true attention to each area, like true proper attention. And that's where my true achievement came, is where I gave each area proper attention. I became present when I was doing each thing. I wasn't distracted by another thing. Like my priority was something else. My priority at the time was doing what I was doing, and that's a huge piece of sort of value there. It's become present in whatever you're doing. So if you're watching a podcast, if you listen to a podcast, listen to the podcast, don't do anything else. Don't mess about on your phone, don't play games, don't do something else. Whatever you're doing, don't scroll through social media. Listen and tune into what somebody's saying, what I'm saying, or what anybody else is saying that you listen to. And you will take a lot more from it. I was more present in the gym when I was training. Like, I was really dialed in. I was focusing on the mind-muscle connection, and my body responded as a result. I was more present in my meditation. So I wasn't just going through the motions or just waiting for the timer to go off. So I'd done it for that day. I was actually really focusing, and being conscious and consciously aware of my breath and my body and all that sort of stuff. And my mindset sort of calmed. Like, I was able to just sort of calm my brain a lot as a result of that really quickly. When I was spending time with loved ones, I was present there. I wasn't messing about on the phone or being distracted or anything like that. And so as a result, relationships improved a ton. Body improved a ton, mindset improved a ton, and obviously business improved a ton because I was present in everything I was doing. I got a hell of a reputation in my local area for personal training. Like I used to get inquiries from, I don't know if you guys know the local area around in the UK, but I'm based in Doncaster. And I was getting inquiries from like Manchester and York and Leeds and all these different places from all around the country, which was like mad because like these places are really big cities, and I just live in kind of a small town, right? And there's people coming from big cities to see this little small town PT like me, and I couldn't believe it, right? But it was because I'd started getting present in everything I was doing. I was upskilling, and I was learning more, and I was applying that knowledge and all that kind of stuff, and things started to improve and things started to get better. And I'm not going to say that I'm perfect. I'm not going to say that I don't still have, moments when I struggle, because I think we all do. But I think that the key is to really get present and focus on everything that you're doing and pay attention to those 4 areas of life, and really, really pay attention to them. Not just pay them lip service, really pay attention to them and put some effort into them. And you'll see the results in each area start to improve, including mental health. So that's where I got to, and the biggest thing was for me that I didn't feel depressed anymore. I was like more happy, more content in general. I was pushing forward. I felt like I was actually moving forward in life rather than being kind of stuck down where I was before. And I felt kind of more balanced as well and less reactive to situations that would crop up on a daily basis, because I think sometimes, for example, the example I can think of, like sometimes we if we get like cut up in traffic or something, like we're driving and somebody cuts us up, right? You can tell the kind of state that you're in that day, the kind of mental state that you're in that particular day on your reaction to an event like that. If your reaction is to throw your middle finger up at the driver that's just cut you up and throw a whole load of insults his way, you can tell that your mental state is really, really reactive. When you're starting to master that, that's what I used to be like all the time. Like any slight thing that would go off, I'd be like react. But when you can tell that you've sort of started to get a handle and a mastery over your mindset, is when you don't react to stuff like that. Like you can just sort of smile and just be like, you might think, well, he was a bit of a dickhead, but that's as far as it goes. And you don't get emotional about it, because there's only so many resources mentally and physically that we have available to us every single day. Why waste them resources on some guy in traffic? Do you know what I mean? So that's the way I kind of look at things now, and I'm kind of much more chilled out now. And I'm much happier now. So that's pretty much all I've got for this. I know we went a little bit longer today, but I kind of wanted to just touch on the subject of mental health, because I do think it's important, especially right now with everything that's going on in the world. So I really hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found this useful. Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, or leave me a review and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to get a discussion going on this kind of topic, because I don't think we talk about this enough. And yeah, if you found this helpful, don't forget to follow this podcast on iTunes or Spotify, or subscribe on YouTube. Drop a like if you like the video on YouTube. And other than that, yeah, we're pretty much done for today. So I will see you next time on the Muscle Building Mastery Podcast. Cheers.